Alright, peace. Today's class we're going to talk about 7 chakras. That's just to follow up on last week's class, which is the follow up the week before that when we talked about media. The reason we started with media because we wanted to show how words can be used to manipulate thought and have that thought become reality. But now we're going to get into where do words come from. So last week's class we started talking about, the use of spirit, we talked about chakras slowly but surely. And we talked about a new way of thinking. Now, why did we talk about a new way of thinking? Because we decided we were going to challenge the mode of resistance that we've been trying to fight with for over 1,000 years. And there's got to be something that's wrong with this mode that we're fighting. And the problem with this mode that we're fighting in, one, is a tradition. It means that it's stagnant. It has only one frame of being and is not able to adapt to change. And anything that cannot adapt to change ultimately is dead. We are beings that constantly evolve. The human being constantly evolves from one phase to another phase to another phase. So if we know that physically we evolve from single cell organisms to multiple cell organisms, then why is it that our thought process does not evolve? They say free your mind, your behind will follow. But in our case, the behind is moving and the mind ain't following. So what's happening here? What's happening is we've lost the science of the chakras. Now you hear a lot of people talk about chakras and esoteric science, but they talk in a manner that is vague and it's not connected to here. We're going to talk about it in a manner that's connected to here. Now, we've realized that religion is something that defines mankind. Whether you're Buddhist, Christian, Muslim, Hindu, etc., etc., etc. Most people define their behavior from their religion. The word religion means tradition. So, if a Buddhist, a Muslim, a Hindu, and a Jainist, or a Judaist all define themselves from religion, which is tradition, but their tradition of worship, then it's safe to say that within the movement we've developed a religion. We've developed a religion in our resistance movement. And that religion that we have developed could be the very thing that's stopping us from seeing the outcome that we really want to see. Because in our religion, like most religions, we've become dogmatic. I'm a Muslim, but you can only be a Muslim thinking like this. You can only be a Christian if you think like this. So what happens? They become from one masjid, 2 masjids. From one church, 2 churches. And so forth and so on. From one, let's all get free from oppression, to 7 little groups saying they want to be free from oppression, but this way and that way. Because naturally, again, things evolve. But if you don't have a system set up with the understanding that evolution will come, you will begin to splinter. If a board or if a piece of wood is stiff, in time that wood will break. Because wind will blow, positioning of the wood will change. So if the base of the wood is not flexible, is not pre-designed for the shifting of wind, eventually nature will take its course, wind is going to happen, and it's going to break. But that's why in the body and in trees and everything we have what's called a joint. The joint is there because nature already has predicted that this and this will happen. You're not going to be right there forever. So you need that. So from us looking at the media and defining media as a weapon of our oppressor, and we see medium as the thought control mode or a medium of thought control from the media. So we say, okay, well, where is our joint? How do we shift this thinking? And should we shift the thinking? Does our thinking have anything to do with what's going on around us? So we say, we move a little further, and we say, we talked about unity, because it's a big question on world unity. Ultimately, we are one species. Ultimately, we share the same planet. ultimately, what one side does, it affects the other side, and vice versa. But initially, our people, black people, cannot become symbiotic with Europeans because we don't understand ourselves. And that would be devastating for us. Hence, a relationship. If there's a man and a woman and they're in a relationship, they must have mastery of self before they can join. Because if he doesn't understand what it is to be a man and she doesn't understand what it is to be a woman, two things are going to happen. Either you're going to have a little boy and a little girl trying to pretend to be men and women, or you're going to have a woman who pretends to be a man or a man who pretends to be a woman. Either way, it's not a good relationship. It's unbalanced. Same here. If you have a race of people, one group, black group, one group, white group, without mastery of themselves, we don't have integration. We end up with assimilation. So the question remains, how do we find out about ourselves as a people, but remember that we're part of a bigger formula? Like I said in one of the DVDs I put out recently, I said this new way of thinking is going to confuse people. A lot of people will shy away from this because everything we've been taught has lied in this little square. And we'll never step outside the square. Like I talked about, talking black in a black room does not make you black. It makes you safe. That's all. You're not really black, you're safe. But taking your blackness, which is a connection to the cosmos, and being firm with that and stepping outside of your square to say, well, look, this is who I am. This is what I'm about. And this is how you have to treat me. And in return, I'll treat you with the same that you treat me with. Now that means you're secure who you are. Same thing like being in a religion. If you're a Muslim and you only talk to Muslims, you're not much of a Muslim. If you're Christian and you only dialogue with Christians, you're not too much of a Christian. If you're a martial artist and you only talk about or exhibit martial arts in the dojo in the safety of your group, then you're not too sure about your martial art. But if you're into competition and go out and test what you think you know against others, then you're secure. We have to reach that state. Hence brings us to two things: the chakras and meditation. Okay, the chakras. Starting from one, we have what's called the root chakra. That's the first one. And the root chakra is in the spine base or the groin area. Right around here. This little U from there to there. Then we have the sacral, which is next, and that's in the genital pocket. Then we have the solar, which is the center mass or your solar plex, where breathing takes place. Then you have the throat, which is the fifth chakra. That's obviously your throat. And then you have the third eye, or some say the first eye, which is your subconscious, which is you before you. That's between the eyes. And then you have, what's above the head is the crown. The crown is that soft spot in the top of your skull, whereas the baby is most dangerous.
And it was breathing.
Yeah, your breathing takes place, everything takes place through this. Now, that goes into why a lot of cultures, we keep it covered up, because we understand the importance of it. And we understand that that is the #1 receptor of energy. So we don't just have it out there. That's why it's very non-African to take off your hat. That's not our culture. You know, to take off your hat when you come in the room. That's not our culture. We don't do that. We have garbs that are designed to be there for the purpose of protecting your chakras, protecting your alignment. It's like taking a radio outside. You don't go in the middle of a static, electricity output and then open your antenna. You're going to get shot. You know what I mean? So when we out there moving about, we keep our crowns covered because the crown is the entrance to the chakras. It's from here down. So we have to keep it covered. Now with that being said, we're going to go back to the root chakra, which is red. Now, you hear a lot of people talk about these two chakras with disdain. That's the lower self. That's the animalistic self. That is a religious discussion. That is not a spiritual or esoteric discussion. The lower self is just the self. It's part of the big chain. So when we talk about the spine base, the genitals, which is the root and the sacral, the spine base or the genitals are where life comes from. They are the final chain between the thought or the non-physical life and the physical life. So they should be most protected. They should be most understood, and they should be most disciplined. Now we say discipline, person, well, don't be hopping around the bed. No, don't do that either, because you get AIDS. But we're saying discipline in the sense that you should understand them. A discipline is not just suppression. See, in this culture, discipline means suppression. No, discipline means understanding. To know something is to have discipline, because you know where it's going, how to do it, and where to get it from. That is a discipline. That's what that means. Now, I was reading this again, Dalai Lama's book in a piece, because I try to get knowledge everywhere. And this says, the point of religious diversity, all religions share a common root, which is limitless compassion. They emphasize human improvement, love, respect for others, and compassion for the suffering of others. Insofar as love is essential in every religion, we could say love is a universal religion. But the various techniques and methods for developing love and attaining salvation or liberation differ widely between the traditions. I don't think there could ever be just one single philosophy or one single religion, since there are so many different types of people with a wide range of tendencies and inclinations. It's quite fitting that there are differences between religions, and the fact that there are so many different descriptions of the religious path shows just how rich it is. In essence, diversity is the key to unity. Now, people say, wait a minute, Shaka, I ain't down with that integration. You're trying to turn me into integrations. No, we're not. We're not saying assimilation. We're saying diversity. We are who we are, they are who they are. The more we learn about ourselves, the more that we're able to appreciate what we're not in others. The yin and yang. The more you learn as a child to study and get good grades, the more you can appreciate not hanging out getting bad grades. But if I just tell you, man, if you hang out, you're going to get bad grades, and you don't see no balance behind it, it's like, what are you talking about? What does that mean? So you got to have that balance, and that goes next to the solar, which is the center mass, and the heart. Now, I want to spend a little time on the heart, because the heart is the most powerful chakra. It's not the mind, it's the heart.
You know, I was about to say, it's the center.
Right.
Of everything, because there's 3 here above it, 3 below. So it's like the physical heart.
Right.
It maintains all areas.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I look forward to this conversation, but that I know that, and the solar plexus, by the way, in chakra terminology, they call it personal power.
That's right.
Personal power. And, you know, like chakra, name chakra, but he displays personal power often. You understand what I'm saying? So it would be anybody who's supposed to know the chakra should be able to say, oh, his solar plexus is wide open.
Right.
It's wide open because he displays personal power on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying? There's some people who, with the heart, that compassion that the Dalai Lama talked about, that connection, that respect, that having compassion for others and everything, some people just naturally give of themselves without thinking twice. And I mean, and it's just amazing that an ancient thing like chakras, they know the heart's still the center of the universe.
Yes.
You know, but teach on
Nah, that's good. Now, dealing with the heart, they said this is the higher consciousness of love. Now, love, I said in the last class, we as budding revolutionaries, we're going to start redefining our reality. So love now is, I love you, honey, you know, Hallmark card, February 14th. That's love. No, we're saying love is lifting our visions eternally. To lift our vision eternally. That's love. To reach the highest possible height in spiritual development. Where you see without seeing, hear without hearing, speak without speaking. That's love. Now, just dropping down a little bit, the root chakra, again, like I said, they said this is the animal or base nature, which does not mean evil. Base nature, let's look at an animal's nature. An animal moves on what is called instinct. Instinct is another word for in tune. Animals are in tune with things like the earth. That's why when there's about to be some drastic situation, they out. You know, they don't have to go to CNN. You know, they don't gotta go log in and find out what's gonna happen today. They just know it's gonna rain tomorrow, so we're not going. It's gonna be an earthquake, so we're not going over there. You know, something's coming, we're going. You know, this is natural. So this is that base, and we have that ability too. If we lock in and change the tradition or the religion of thinking that has made the lower chakra forbidden to even talk about. And in doing so, what happens when you cut off the base, you know, and that's also the sacral, which is the chakra that monitors sexuality and reproduction. If you cut off those two from our understanding, you make us slaves. It's easy to suppress the people who don't listen to their instinct. It's easy to suppress the people who don't monitor their sexuality. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, as you think about what Chaka said about cutting off those two, when you think about what Chaka said about cutting off those two, if we look at root, right? What do they cut off?
Yeah.
What do they cut off? His foot.
Yeah.
Which is usually your base. What do they do when they when they the word is escaping me. Lynch us. What they cut off?
The genitals.
The genitals.
Exactly.
So, you know, it does fit into what he's saying, that this is how you get enslaved. It was physically done to cripple us, and now it's a mental thing that they're doing to cripple us.
Exactly. And if you look at it, let's just look, monitor your sexuality. Because we think sexuality, we think in the bed with a girl. That's it. No. Sexuality in itself is spirituality. There's a spiritual thing that happens during intercourse. We still trying to figure it out. There was a time when we had it mastered. The Kama Sutra is not a pornographic book. The Kama Sutra is a science of spiritual connection that, you know, Europeans got a hold of and twisted it around. We don't even understand it. You know, it's when animals mate, they mate at a certain time. They're in line with the universe. They're supposed to do that then. And with an animal, when two animals mate, they're connected for life. In the movie Avatar, they touched on that. When they had mated, they got together, they had intercourse, and she said, now we're life partners. That was a custom for us at one time. You know, and today, spiritually and biologically, I don't care if you get with a girl or a man, I don't care if you never see them again. You two are linked. If you bump into each other on the street 20 years from now, you're going to look at each other a certain way. Mm-hmm. You ain't going to just be like, what's up, what's up? You know, like you would a friend. You know, even if it's somebody you had intercourse with 50 years ago, there's always going to be that little kindling spark between you because you shared a certain energy. Mm-hmm. And once you share that energy keeps you connected. Right. But if you don't teach on that, and if you don't teach on the chakra of the sacral, which is monitoring sexuality, you won't understand those departments. So what happens is now, this is why it's so easy to go from person to person to person, you know, and not even see the connection in what's going on. And now we'll think, okay, well, you know, and I went through it too. That's another thing, you know, we got to start being real with ourselves. I went through it too. I'm a player. I got it all figured out. These girls just like me. No, it's that connection, that chakra that we didn't understand that has us linked, and we don't know how to appreciate that. We don't know how to respect that. We don't know how to use that. We misuse it. Mm-hmm. Because people who understood it misused it and taught us how to misuse it through oppression. Now, we move up to the heart chakra. I pulled this part out. I found an article that talked about the heart fields. As you know, the earth has electromagnetic fields. Electric and magnetic fields. Electromagnetic. The body, the chakras, feed and read off of those electromagnetic energies. And they reciprocate them. This is how you have a symbiotic connection between you and the earth. The earth, like us, has an aura or an aurora just like us. You know, it has a core just like us. And it has a flesh just like us. The core of the earth would be the heart of the earth. Then you have all of the same 7 chakras, exactly like this, in the earth that you have in you. And you have the elements biologically of the earth in you. So we're one and the same.
I would do it like that. I would just explain that to my son, how On the 21st of December, that's the winter solstice. That is the closest the Earth is to the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Yet it's cold. I said that then you know that the sun does not regulate the heat.
That's right.
The core and what's inside the Earth regulates it. See what I'm saying? So I just putting that together. It's the core.
It's the core.
In the Earth itself.
That's why when you talk to a person, all religions go after the same thing, the core of the person.
Yeah.
Not the superficial part of the person, not how you dress, how you look, where you come from, but the core of your being. See, and that's why I read that statement from the Dalai Lama where he said, you know, there are different religions, and they should be, because they all have one thing in common, which is the quest for the core that we call the higher consciousness, the love factor, the lifting our visions eternally. See, but we can't get caught in the dogma of tradition that blocks us from seeing that in each other. See, and that's where we're falling off. But in this one it says, in this article it says, many believe that conscious awareness originates in the brain alone. Recent scientific research suggests that conscious actuality emerges from the brain and body acting together. A growing body of evidence suggests that the heart plays a particularly significant role in this process. For more than a simple pump, as once believed, the heart is now recognized by scientists as a highly complex system with its own functional brain. The heart has its own functional brain. We always said it's a system, we just don't know how powerful it is. The heart emits electromagnetic waves of its own, just like the mind does, at 15 to 20 times higher than the mind. So, it says research in a new discipline of neurocardiology shows that the heart is a sensory organ and a sophisticated center for receiving and processing information. The nervous system within the heart, or heart brain, enables it to learn, remember, and make functional decisions independent of the brain's cerebral cortex. Moreover, numerous experiments have demonstrated that the signals the heart continuously sends to the brain influence the function of higher brain centers involved in perception, cognitive dissonance, and emotional processing. Now, the heart has a brain and functions on its own. Now, I say that to say this. The earth has a center of core. The core functions on its own like your heart functions on its own. The brain would be the spiritual level, the higher level, right? The network, lakes, rivers, oceans, etc. There's the outer that connects that to the core. The functionality of the earth, earthquakes, tornadoes, all of these things, if we have a symbiotic connection with the earth and we're out of control, what do you think is going to happen to the earth? If nature and us are one and we're off balance, we're not in line with our chakras, what do you think is going to happen with the earth? It's going to be as chaotic as we are.
Because of the energy?
Right.
Frequency?
Exactly. This, I have a thing called, well, before I get to that, I picked up the paper today, and it's an article called Dumped. Two beautiful little girls are left on the Brooklyn sidewalk by their mother. Right? When I saw this, the first thing I thought to myself, man, look how we've gone to the point we have no sympathy. We have no compassion. Now, at a basic level, that's what you would associate with heart. You know, caring for one another, not doing things like that, all these murders, all this other stuff, the violence, etc., etc., etc. So if that's just the human-to-human result of not understanding this chakra, the heart, then what would happen on a global level if masses of us acted like this? The earth would respond in a similar fashion. And this is the chaos that we see. We have a lot more to do with the movement of the earth than we credit ourselves for. We have, and to prove it, if you look in the paper, the chakra I gave you, if you look at page 2, this is a wave report of an analysis that was done in DC in 1993 to curb the violence. And they brought in a host of approximately 4,000 participants in the Transcendental Meditation programs to United States National Capital, July 7th to July 30th, 1993. A 27-member independent project review board consisting of sociologists, criminologists, from leading universities, representatives from the police department and the government of the District of Columbia, and civic leaders approved and advanced the research protocol for the project and monitored its progress. Now, what it showed on the second page is, as the creating or the coherence of the creating groups rose, crime went down. So the more got together and implemented different weeks, 500, then you get to about like week 6. In week 6, you have 2,500 people meditating together. And you go from a 5 to a 10% decrease down to a 15 and finally a 25% decrease. When it was 4,000 people bound together with one common energy, which was to meditate against the violence, it dropped 25% in the course of 8 weeks, 2 months. It's right there. You need it. Oh, okay. You know what I mean? Two months this happened. So now, why am I bringing that up? We who are in the different spiritual disciplines, we all rely on prayer, whether it's salat, praying in church, etc., etc., etc. We understand prayer to be a higher form of meditation, a higher form of talking to the inner self. See, we have to push past the dogma that prevents us from seeing things that way. When you pray, you're talking to yourself. You're talking to the God within self. You're not talking to the clouds. You're not talking to a building. You're talking to that which is in you, the heart. It's green. Green is life. So when and green represents strength. So when you're talking to that inner self, that inner consciousness, we say in Islam, ask Allah what you want, and give it to you. Christians have similar sayings. Buddhists have the saying that reality is here, you just need to connect to it. Now that's focused. Now they didn't say one religion went out there and meditated. They just said 4,000 participants from a wide range. I can tell you a wide range. When they all focused their energy, they were able to curb violence. Now, I remember a long time ago I was in a lecture, I forgot who was giving a lecture, but they were talking about the pyramids and how these stones will probably move through means of mental telepathy. Everybody's like, that's crazy, we don't believe that, blah, blah, blah. But whole cities changed based on a thought. Think about that. So now what would happen if we look back, okay, now again, this is not, they didn't go in there with batons and sticks and change the crime. They went in there with a different mentality and changed it. So now let's go back to our brother Martin Luther King. We have to reanalyze his approach now. For years we just brushed him off as being soft. Perhaps he was tapping into this and not knowing it himself. Because if he tapped into Gandhi's philosophy, which was heavily influenced by Hinduism and Buddhism and Jainism, the three major religions there, and Islam, well, we know that Gandhi's theory goes beyond him to Sheikh Ahmadu Bamba, who dealt with spiritual resistance. And spiritual resistance is just another word for conscious resistance, which the oppressor calls nonviolent, to make you not want to do it. So wait a minute. Didn't Martin say in the beginning, if we could just tap into the heart of our enemies and open up their conscience or open up their chakra, we could let them see something different. They would see something that they didn't see before. So people say, well, you know, I ain't with getting hit in the head and all that. Well, you ain't got to get hit in the head. Hello? It don't always involve you getting hit in the head, but they did the same thing. They just went somewhere and focused all their energy on what they wanted to see as reality. And bang, it happened. On YouTube, I found today, I posted on my Facebook, there's a school in Detroit where the violence was ridiculous. They tried everything in the world. The principal had gotten into Buddhism and she got into meditation. So she brought it to her school and made the students meditate 10 minutes twice a day. Within maybe 6 months, it didn't drop the violence stopped. The children just stopped fighting. Out of a whole school, only 2 parents didn't allow their children to go through it because they thought it was religious. And she said, no, this is not a religion. We just practice the discipline. It's now the other side of it, not only did the violence stop, children's grades went up. One child was, during pre-meditation, was like a B, a D, maybe a C. Post-meditation therapy, A+. Every child they talk to is like, I can focus now, I'm more this, I'm more that, I'm more that. None of them have anything negative to say. Now the kids look forward to it.
I just came from a meeting, a domestic violence meeting, and there was this lady there who was doing the workshop, and her whole lecture was about meditation. That's why I said everybody put their number. She gave me a place that you can go to, and it's free, to train you how to meditate. Because a lot of us, we don't know, how to meditate, and if we do, it might be for a minute or so, but it's more you practice, I guess, the better you get. But it's free, but it was about domestic violence, behavior, why we do things, and it's not about blame, she says, it's about accountability. And the meditation played a major role in this whole conversation that she had.
I'm looking at this one is how to deal with earthquakes the Kundalini Yoga way. Now, when I first really started even interesting myself with the concept of Kundalini Yoga, guess what? It didn't come from a Buddhist. It came from a brother who was a Muslim. And he was like, man, I do yoga. And I was like, can we do that? He said, yeah, you can do that. He said, you got to come outside that box, brother. And this is what happens with a lot of us. We get locked in those tradition boxes. And we don't allow ourselves to experiment and move beyond that. Move to better yourself on another level. For those who just came in, I'm going to reread what I always read the Dalai Lama. I like it. He said, all religions share a common root, which is limitless compassion. They emphasize human improvement, love, respect for others, and compassion for the suffering of others. Stop right there. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but every doctrine says that that's what we're supposed to be doing. Everyone. So what are we beefing about?
Compassion.
All of it. Limitless compassion. All of the prophets had limitless compassion. And they teach limitless compassion. Limitless compassion, rather. Human improvement. Every doctrine on the face of earth tells you how to improve. I don't care if it's your diet, your clothing. It's all about being better than you were yesterday. Respect for others and the suffering of others. Insofar as love is essential in every religion, you can say that a universal religion. But the various techniques and methods for developing love and attaining salvation or liberation differ widely between the traditions. I don't think there could ever be just one single philosophy or one single religion. Mind you, religion is tradition. The word tradition means religion. Religion is tradition. As I was explaining earlier, your tradition or religion is only as good as you are. If you stay within people that practice the same tradition, then your tradition is not strong. Your tradition is only strong when you go out of your circle and then talk in another circle. And the people say, I like what you're saying, but here's what I'm about. This is what you say, well, I got to say. Now you're building strength in your tradition. You see, I was saying earlier, you can talk black all day, but if you're just talking in black circles, you're not that black. You got to go outside and go over there and talk to them and say, this is who we are, this is what we're about. What you about? Let's see how we can work this out. How can we pull this forward? Again, that's not integration. That's not assimilation. That is cohabitation. And the earth exists with cohabitation. But leaders of the world do one or two things. Force you to be with somebody else or totally pull you away. That's not nature. Nature is based on cohabitation. Lions don't stop being lions because they stand next to hyenas. The hyena never beef about not being a lion. The lion don't beef about not being a hyena. They share the same camp. Like we said in a relationship, if a man and woman get in a relationship and the man doesn't know what it is to be a man and the woman is not sure what it is to be a woman, then they're not going to have a good relationship. So we have to master self. The mastery of self is the goal of each and every person on the earth. The mastery of self. The 7 chakras. When you master self, you can enter the room and then you can connect with whatever else is in that room. But until then, it's not going to work. Now, we talked about the earthquakes and the Kundalini. The reason I brought this up, Kundalini Yoga and earthquakes. Because when we have an earthquake, did you know that your body is offline after the earthquake? When the earthquake, when the plates or tectonic plates move in the earth, that's magnetic fields moving. You are that. That is you. So you go through the same thing. That's why dogs go crazy with this magnetic earthquake. Start going mad, birds start chirping all of it. Because they are in tune. See, we talked about the root. See, these two, the sacral and the root chakras, 1 and 2, are chakras that we don't ever talk about. Because that's the base. That's the animalism. That's the sexual, this, that. We don't talk, because religion won't let us talk about this. That's just no. Just don't do it. Don't do it, don't talk about it, and that's it. Now go on, do what you gotta do. That's how we get down. Okay, what the religion is. We don't talk about this. We don't talk about sexuality. When I'm talking about sexuality, I'm not talking about intercourse. I'm talking about the spiritual connection that happens on many levels. Like I was saying earlier, if you have had a sexual intercourse or connection with a person 50 years ago, and you see that person at the high school reunion dance, whatever, when you see that person, every memory from then pops up now. Everyone, like a computer. Why? Because you are still binarily connected. It don't break because you broke out. It continues because the universe is a continual vortex of connection. It doesn't stop. See, and when you start to meditate, you understand that. That's how meditation, it's almost like you can pause your meditation and come back to it later. You can have a vision, say, click, okay, I'm going to the world. Click, I'm back over here again. Once you understand the chakras. See, so we have to pay attention. Animals. Animals have a high sense. We said the animal base. When you read your chakra page, it talks about this is the animal-based nature. Right? Root chakra is in the spine of the groin. This is the animal or base nature. Now, when we say animal, first thing comes to our mind, and I have to put it out there, is that European, Euro-Christian, patriarchal definition animal. Fangs, drooling, mad. No, that's not what it is. Animals move on instinct. Instinct is a connection to the earth. They don't have to ask, they just know. We lost that, so we don't know. So we're trying to find it out.
Also, you can also draw the line between the root chakra and survival.
Yeah, survival.
Survival. Animals move on instinct to survive.
See? And they don't move destructively like humans do. We say survival is killing him so I can live. That's not survival. That's destruction. Survival is, look, man, I'm gotta go over here. You build a dam. I go pick some of this, and I'll knock the tree down. I'll make the tree easy for you to knock down. You build the dam. We'll all survive. That's how animals work in the animal kingdom. They assist one another. The elephant runs first and knocks the foliage down, so the small animals can get through. The birds fly first to alert the other animals. The birds can easily fly last. They fly first because everything has an order in the universe. And when you know that order, okay, it's time to go. The birds left, we gotta go.
Even if you look at the shark, who's the greatest carnivore on the planet, they're little fish that hang out, that live off of whatever the shark rips up.
Exactly. And they know
shark ain't got no problem. It's like the shark don't even act like they're there, but they're there all the time. All the time, they're right there.
Now it says, how to deal with earthquakes. The Kundalini Yoga way is a meditation for sensitizing yourself to predict and prepare for change of the earth, such as earthquakes, climatic changes, tidal waves, or any kind of natural phenomena. So when we talk about disaster preparedness, I have never heard this in the disaster preparedness class. It's always about a shovel, a compass, a book bag, and just hide. Nobody ever said that we can not only, now remember, put these two together. They change the course of movement with concentrated meditation. So if we can prepare for an earthquake, maybe we can stop it. If we can prepare for climatic change, maybe we can stop it. If we can prepare for global warming, maybe we can stop it. If we can prepare for these circumstances, maybe we caused it. Go ahead, brother.
When I was a Christian, one of the things that drove me to Christianity or kept me involved with it was Jesus has said, or the Lord has said, that whatever I do, you can do. In fact, if you have the faith, what have you? You say mountain move, mountain to mountain moves. And I was like, I saw that as real. You see what I'm saying? But they was like, no, don't go that far. But look at what he's saying, you know what I'm saying? In fact, he said Jesus looked at a plant or whatever, and he was hungry, and it didn't have nothing. He said, you're not going to do anything no more. And it withered. And you know what I'm saying? So it's like he was connected to it. You see? And I was like, wow, you know what I'm saying? I'm down with that. Honestly, that's how I was looking at Christianity. I wanted the power to do things on another level. So hearing this and now hearing the evidence of just meditating, changing, wow, that's mind-blowing.
Like a lot of us, we pray in ritual. We don't pray for the purpose of connection. We pray because we're supposed to pray. And then when we get down to pray, we say just what we were told to say. We don't even think about we saying it. We just say it because this is how you're going to say it when you do this. Whether it's part of the Salat, or part of Hail Mary, whatever. You got your lessons, do it this way. But we never stop to think, like, what's happening when we do this? When 4 billion Muslims make Salat, what's happening to the earth at that moment? Like, what's happening to people who are not, we talked about connection. We always talk about if a violent act happens, it affects the whole community. Well, the same is for a positive act. So when we all are praying, let's say it's, let's say it's Sunday, from Friday to Sunday. 3 major groups utilize those 3 days as prayer day. Friday, the Muslims; Saturday, the Jews, and people study Judaism; and Sunday, most Christians. That's 3 days. We know from good old mathematics, 5% nation, 3 is understanding. Bringing things into existence or reality. So imagine that those 3 days, those 3 groups would have focused on something jointly. We wouldn't have to rally and protest no more. It would just happen.
It really would.
It would just happen. So we laugh kind of like I was watching that movie King over the last couple of days, the Paul Winfield version. And I was watching how they would go up and they be they get on their knees. I was like, they don't even know what they're doing.
Remember Avatar?
Yeah, same thing.
When they got down and prayed.
When they got prayer, they put the energy together, the lights came on.
Power.
Right, but if you think about it, they were going in front of the jail. And we brought up, so knucklehead, we like, man, that's great. They singing, they doing this. But singing is what? Vibration. Yeah. Vibration emanates thought. Right. Thought emanates and creates reality. We shall overcome. So that's their thought. And all these people are focused on that. And there's one scene when they had the guys with the Bull Connor, and he beat them down with the hose and all this. So on Easter Sunday they showed up, and they went, and he wasn't there yet. So another officer, and the guy was like, they just want to go to the jail and pray for Martin. They just want to pray. The guy was like, so they got on their knees right there, and a lot of it, more this time, they started praying. So now all the firemen and everybody started looking like they knew, like, we can't do this, we can't do this. They tapped something in them. See, it wasn't so much a civil rights issue, but it was about the higher consciousness being connected on both sides. Like, this is not right. We shouldn't do this. So here comes Bull Connor. He's screaming, "Turn the hose on! Turn the hose on!" He's like foaming at the mouth. He's the only one out of the connection. Everybody else was on the same page, except him. And see, that's how things happen.
Can I add to it? Look what we can do to the world. I'm talking about our people. You got to also think about all the white people that joined in on the civil rights. We know about the woman, the Italian woman. She went down there and got her face blown off. Moved by us,
right?
Because we was on one accord, and we focused and we did these things. The civil rights movement made a lot of people change their lives.
Yeah. Change the way they thought.
Yeah, and it's like, look at what he's doing, and he's not. And it seemed like he should be afraid, because a lot of times we don't hear that. A lot of preachers were telling him not to do it. When he wrote the letter in Birmingham, the white preachers were saying you were moving too fast. He had to let them know. There is no. How you gonna tell me when it's time to move, when it's time to?
Yeah, there's no speed. It just has to be done.
Yeah.
Now, but think about the adverse reaction to it. He also started. People was like, "I ain't with that. I'm gonna do this." It still made you move.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And adversely, there was Malcolm. Like, man, I ain't with that. I'm gonna do it this way. And that created the duality, the yin and the yang. That happens with the universe. You can't have one without an equal reaction. And that's what started, but it's moving. Now, getting into the our people part, the reason I touched on this, it says this earthquake meditation. First of all, they said these are the benefits of meditation: to maintain youthfulness of mind and body, to bring health and healing ability, to fertilize the brain so you can't sink into depression, to eliminate fatigue and give a constant flow of energy, and to make you intuitive and universally sensitive. Earthquake meditation. This meditation centers you after a jarring experience and was given specifically to reset the magnetic field after an earthquake. After all, our magnetic fields are connected to the earth. So when hers are jostled, meaning earth, so are ours. And then it goes into how, you know, what you can say and showing you. And it says, I know Vlog shows you how to do Kundalini, but you don't have to do it with words. You can just be still and be quiet and have the same effect about the breathing. There are many techniques to meditation. You can meditate while walking. You can meditate while on a train, etc. Now, when you look at it, it says it resets you after a jostling experience. That could be the violence in our community. Yeah, exactly. Riding the subway. You know, that could be just walking down the block hearing all that nonsense. You know, you got, hey, nigga, that's jostling. Because I know it's not right, but I can't really do anything about all that at this time. So I'm getting hit, boom, bang, boom, 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 bang, bang. So I'm getting jostled. You know what I mean? So you go sit down after you get away from it, bring it down, bring it back. You know, just like in martial arts. For those who are martial artists, you know, it's a meditation that goes on when you're having a competition. You meditate between rounds, get it back to the center. Because you done been tagged up. You know what I mean? You got half your brain is on anger because you got hit. The other half is trying to remember the technique. And what you got left is trying to defend it. So you got to sit down and bring all that back together to the center. And let it flow. Let it, like Bruce said, be like water. You got to bring it to where it just happens naturally. But that takes effort. See, if we would do this, we could heal our situation. This book is Bruce Lee's Striking Thoughts. Right? And it says, reality. Matter and energy are one. In atomic physics, no distinction is recognized between matter and energy, nor is it possible to make such a distinction, since they are all, in reality, one essence, or at least two poles of the same unit. It is no longer possible, as it was in the mechanistic scientific era, to absolutely define weight, length, or time, etc., as the work of Einstein, Planck, Whitehead, and Jean has demonstrated. Reality, the Western approach. The Western approach to reality is mostly through theory, and theory begins by denying reality. To talk about reality, to go around reality, to catch anything that attracts our sense, intellect, and abstract it away from reality itself. Reality is all. Everything is reality. Even that which has not existed, that has not been carried out, exists already. You know, you hear sometime in faith-based discussions, you hear people talk about, well, you know, what is now has been, you know, it's been predicted, it's been seen, revelation, yada, 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 yada. That's because everything we're doing right now has already been done time after time after time before we did it. Right. Within this little reality that we have called Earth. You know, grandma say, ain't nothing new under the sun. That's what that saying means. You know, the energy that is now, that you cut a TV off, whoop, you see the little frame in the TV that you just saw for a couple of seconds. Where does it go? Does it go anywhere? Because you know, if you cut off and cut it right back on, you go right back to that same channel. You know, like pause, you go home, pause, we got pause now, we can do it. DVR, couldn't do it back in the day. Go pause your TV, and the guy's on TV like this. Right? Cut TV or click, and you'll still see the guy. Or close your eyes. Real fast. Do it right now. Close your eyes real fast. You still see everything that your eyes just saw. Open up, it's right there. So what stopped? You or what you're looking at? Or did anything stop? Nothing stopped. That's reality. Reality doesn't stop. It just transmutes. Like energy. Energy never stops. It just transfers one to the next, to the next, to the next. It never stops. It never even takes a shape. Energy has no shape. Energy gets put into shape based on the container you hold it in. Like liquid. Like us. Right, like us.
Speaking of energy never stops and it doesn't have a shape, there's a kind of photograph they were taking when they cut off the limb of some amphibian. And in the photograph, the energy of the former limb was still there.
Yep. That happens with us.
Outline and everything, and yeah, you can do that with us too.
You see people that lose their limb in like a tragic situation, they still say they feel their limb.
Yeah.
You know? My mother had her leg removed because of a surgery or a health issue. And I remember when they moved both her legs. The reaction on the first one was different from the second. The first one, I remember her saying like, ooh, sometimes I've been ready to scratch my leg. And then she had to realize I don't have a leg.
A friend of mine lost his in a motorcycle accident.
Right.
and he was suffering with that because he kept feeling his leg.
Yeah, like it itches. It's there. It's there. Why? Because technically it is still there. Because the energy, it's just like having a wire and going like this. That's direct energy, and then you pull it away. And we think ain't nothing going because you stick your head in there. But the energy is still between that wire and here. That's why you take up electricity. I went to school for electronics. Some places, depending on how big the wattage is, you can't be walking around with the wire in your hand because energy will jump to the wire from the outlet. I've seen it with my own eyes. You know, when you move in that BX wire, that's like that 6-aught wire. That's about this big. And you hear, and the source of the electricity could be where that sister standing. I've seen it go jump across the room. That's why you have to always be grounded. You have to always have the right gear on. You have to make sure that you don't hold the source, keep it away from you, you know, because it'll jump.
It's like a lightning rod, basically.
Like a lightning rod, right. And that's just the slow energy. Everything we see is slow energy. This is not solid. This is not solid. All of this is energy slowed down to a comprehensive level. Just like chakras. Chakras exist. But I mean, to the naked eye, I don't see no orange spot on your body and green spot on your body. I don't see that. But if we get enhanced machinery that moves at a different frequency, it won't pick up what I see. It'll pick up a bunch of colors. You know, I'll just see, but I won't see none of you. I'll just see colors. You know, sort of like when you watch The Matrix, and they went into like their eyesight or whatever, and everything was greens and all that. That's supposed to be like energy. But that's real. Sonar, bats move on sonar. Sonar is just light imagery. You know, energy bounced off of things, coming back, boom, they get the shape. So this is real. Now, if we know all these things in the scientific world, but we don't think about them in the spiritual world. We don't think about them in the world of our spirituality. Why? Because spirituality has taught us to disconnect from the source of spirituality. All spirituality teaches us that the creator or the source is here, and you're way over here. And you got to spend your life trying to get over there. That's not what I read when I see it. No. The creator is here. Right. And I'm here. All I have to do is spend my life trying to understand the connection. The connection is already made. One of the things I saw in Buddhism that I dug when they was like, it ain't the end result that we worry about. It's the journey that we should be concerned with. You already where you're supposed to be. You know, we all know, whether Allah, Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, whatever you want to call him, one thing is for sure, they all say he don't make no mistakes. Or she don't make no mistakes. Or it don't make no mistakes. I heard all the phrases. But no mistakes at the end of it. So that means I am who I'm supposed to be. I'm where I'm supposed to be. The duty for me to do is understand what that is. What is it that I'm supposed to be? Where on this, do I fit? At what point am I starting at? Where am I going with it? If we looked at the chakras, you shoot up to the third eye, intelligence, and psychic power, right? Now people will say, we say the third eye, and they start saying, oh, that's that magic, that's that, don't talk about hocus pocus. No, psychic power is real. How many of you been on a train or something, and you just look up somebody looking at you? Mm-hmm. You didn't sit down saying, I'm going to look up. Right. So you just turn around. Yep. Or how many times you've been walking through an area, and you walk through and you just turn around. Like something makes you turn and look the other way. When you turn around, nothing's there. And we be like, you keep moving, you don't think about it. But in all reality, we talk about the TV, right? And the stagnant energy. When people pass through an area, they leave stagnant remnants of energy. And you and your moving energy attracts to that stagnant energy. And it calls you, it repels you. It's a simple thing as if it's hot in here and you come in from the cold, you put the cold in with you. You put the cold in with you. Why? Because your body attracts. So it attracted that cold. The material you wore held the cold off of you, but it stayed in the material. You walk into another zone and the material, now everybody here is on another vibe, another energy, another heat frequency. So we pick up like, oh, that's cold. And you walk around for 2-3 minutes cold. Well, it's the same thing when you move through somewhere. People have energies. Right? You don't know who passed through there just before you passed through there. So you pass through, you're like, oh. You might look around real quick because that energy is there. Apparitions, ghosts, whatever you want to call them, energy. Vapor is energy. When you take something and it vaporizes, it's not that it doesn't exist anymore. It just transforms right in front of your eyes. You watch, the other day it's snowing. It got hot real quick the next day. Everywhere was fog. You came out that morning, everywhere was like a foggy, it wasn't fog, it was the snow. It was just moving very slowly back into a water form that we understand water. So you got to really see it. If you came out early in the morning, by 8 o'clock that morning, you got to see it in that mid area of mist that we call fog. But is the fog different than the snow? Or is the snow and ice different from the rain? No, it's the same thing, water. So if everything in the universe moves, as we said, it evolves, like we said earlier in the beginning of class, so do we.
Now, it was on my job as a brother that, we used to stand in the lobby of this building because he did security. That's when I was elevator operator. And we used to build. We used to just stand there and build. Just knowledge. So one day, this brother walks in from, it was because there's 2 egresses, there's 2 entrances to the lobby. He comes in from the back way, and as soon as he stepped foot into the area where he was, he froze. He said, "Whoa!" He said, "Y'all felt that?" So me and my man looked at each other like, "Felt what?" Like, he said, "Man," he said, "Did y'all feel that energy, man?" So I'm relating that to what you're saying right now. That was me and my man building. He walked into the energy of us building, and he felt it. And he froze. It froze him in his steps. He couldn't be. He said, "Man, y'all felt that?" We didn't know what he was talking about because we was already in it.
Right.
He walked into it and felt it. So,
I saw an experiment one time on TV. They had this like ultra gun type of thing. Picks up waves and reads it out in color. And they moved by people in different circumstances. They had it in their hand, they just walked through the street. So it was 2 people arguing. They flashed it, they came up a certain color. Then another little baby ran, they got a young person, flashed at a young person, came up another color. And he was saying that these moods resonate energy, and these energies can be seen in color. Mood rings. He was just showing that science. But to say that, if you're around that, you will pick it up because it's not you, or sometimes you'll be attracted to it. So this is why we have to be careful who we move around and how we move and what we say. Because, ultimately, we can change things by just what we say. The most transient or the most definite form of meditation is word. What you say becomes reality. If we be like, "I hate Aziz," and Aziz is not in the room, like, "Man, I hate Aziz, man. Boy, I hate Aziz. Woo, I hate Aziz. I hate Aziz." We keep saying it, and he walks in the room, he'll gonna be like, "I hate Aziz."
Looking at him like,
"Yeah, because brother hates you." I just made your reality mine by just transmitting a word. That's why they have what's called a verbal fast, where you don't speak for like days, sometimes a week. You want to really discipline more, because it's to teach you the power of words, and to teach you to restrain some of that energy that you throw out every day in the form of words. Now, we were talking earlier because we talked about last week. We talked about using media, how words became reality, and then we talked about different thinking, how to deal with things. And then we challenged the issue of our struggle at the beginning of this class. And we said, like religion, our liberation struggle has become a religion. It has become a tradition. It's stooped in dogma and, ritual. So it's not working, obviously. So we need a new religion. We need a new tradition. We need a new approach. Maybe we need to stop knocking down things and start learning how to look at both of them. Now, nonviolence. We always look at the rah side of it. Let's look at the other side. As social beings, all humans like nonviolence, since it guarantees peace, which in turn is the prerequisite for happiness. The roots of violence are deep and extensive, and therefore, to destroy them is very difficult. However, it is not impossible. The best way to do it is meditation. Before discovering the relaxation between meditation and nonviolence, it is necessary to find out the root cause of violence, as also the factors which provide sustenance to violence. If we're going to destroy violence, we have to first figure out where it's coming from and what elements keep it alive. Okay, let's look at our oppression, because oppression is the worst form of violence. It's clearly agreed that oppression is the worst form of violence on all levels, mental, physical, and spiritual. So you say, well, man, that's easy, white people. Well, if that's the case, we should be halfway there, because ain't too many white people in our neighborhoods really interacting with us. So if they said that you just have to understand the source, so you move away from it, then we should be cool. Obviously, that's not the only thing. There's more to it. You say, well, come on, obviously, y'all can self-hate. They told us to hate us. That's why we do what we do. Okay, but you said you don't hate you, so why do you still do what they do? It's got to be something deeper. So let's think a little deeper. What could it be that's causing our anger, that's causing our destruction as a people towards one another at an alarming rate? I held this up earlier. 2 little girls left in Brooklyn. Mom just dumped them. And it's not even an uncommon story. We see it all the time. What's causing this? Where's this coming from? Is it how? Fear. That's good. Anybody else? I mean, this is participation. Yeah, she said fear. Anybody else say something?
I was gonna say emotional enslavement, because I'm telling you, one of the roots of this is you go with that emotion instead of mastering that emotion. Emotions are easily manipulated from outside sources.
But isn't it something that creates the emotion?
Yeah.
You said that.
Fear creates that emotion.
Yeah, the emotion
And
is fear.
anger. Oh, okay.
Both of you are right. Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. Yoda. Well, not Buddha. Yoda. Star Wars. I had to throw that in there because you see how, Phil Valentine, for what it's worth, I remember an election a long time ago, he said, man, don't not go to the movies. There's a lot of stuff in the movies. He said, just take a pen and paper when you go. He said, first watch the movie, enjoy it. Get your whatever out of it. And then watch it again and take notes. Because that's communication. Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. What state are we in now? Suffering. We started with fear. Fear of what? Fear of ourselves. Fear of the possibility of doing better. Fear of those who oppress us.
The unknown.
Fear of the unknown. All these things were fear. We go to religion because we're scared. We don't go to religion for self-improvement. We might get that when we get there. But you go to religion because you're like, look, I'm scared of being this way. Basically, I don't know this is going to change. I'm going here. And I'm not saying that's a bad reason for going there, but you got to start investigating more after you get there. Then, the whole time you're in your religion, fear. You're going to hell. So there goes self-improvement out the window. I don't want to go to hell. That's not good enough no more. I'm sorry, that's not good enough. Because if you just doing that, then it's like you're going to fail the class. So you do your homework so you don't fail. You got a 65, but you're not failing. You're like, well, I ain't failing. I passed. You should be trying to get 100 and better. So if I just don't want to go to hell, I do the minimum. I did everything I got to do. I'm not doing, okay, so you're not doing those things that'll get you in hell, but are you changing things? Are you adding to change around you? Are you pushing forward to connect to all things in the universe, including other religions, including other people? Okay, so you liberate black people, but you leave everybody else in chaos. Unless you're going to a planet called black, you got to deal with this. You're still going to have to correct that. Because you are connected. The earth has earthquakes because we have earthquakes. We have earthquakes because the earth has an earthquake. Last week, Tuesday, there was a solar flare that came off the sun. I think it's the biggest one since like maybe 20 years. And it came across the earth and it dropped, this big boom. Everybody was worried about their cell phones going out. The news kept talking about, and it could destroy our communications, and it could destroy the satellites, it could knock them offline, and bank accounts would be thrown, and blah, blah, blah. And everybody's beefing about that. But nobody.
Before.
Yeah, it happens all the time. We lived in Alaska, but it happened every other day. Yeah, and this is the biggest one since then. But when it happens, they worry about communication. But communication is not offline. No. If you practice meditation, if you practice true prayer, and you keep yourself in line, you would know that's coming. And we'd know what to do to make sure that we get the best out of it. Because what happens when a solar flare comes? It deposits magnetic energy. The magnetic energy is what interrupts the frequencies. But if you're already in tune with that, and your heart, which radiates the highest source of electromagnetics, which is electronics, electric fields and magnetic fields, electromagnetic fields, then you would be prepared to get what? A boost, like a battery boost. Around the earth, there were people who were in deep meditation when that at 9 in the morning it happened. And they were in meditation at that moment because they wanted to get the energy that comes from that. Now, leading to energy, you have the ultimate source of electromagnetic absorption called melanin. We are born with the highest concentrate of melanin on the planet, which means we are the highest beacon for absorption of electromagnetic energy. Well, if the highest source of electromagnetic energy in the body is the heart, or the center of 7 chakras, and you as beings have the highest absorption rate of electromagnetic, that would make you the heart of the human race. It makes you the center of all things. But wait a minute, Africa is the birthplace of the human race. So that's not racist. I'm just saying a fact. And Africa geologically is the heart of the earth. Everything you need is there. And everybody came from there and went somewhere else and then moved out and created civilizations, and thus the world was born. Well, right now, we as black people have a responsibility. And the responsibility is to align ourselves with those electromagnetic energies, learn to master them, learn to use them to benefit ourselves, and then learn them to use them to get the rest of the planet in line. This is what we should be doing. Very simple. It's green. Green in Islam is one of the colors. And Christianity green, and Chinese tradition green. I keep seeing green everywhere. Kemet green, and if I'm not mistaken, Arabic, I think green is black. It's green. Grass green on the other side. You know what I mean? But we should look at that and really say to ourselves, wait a minute. We talked about earlier, you can't have a relationship if you don't know your role. This is not black supremacy now. Because we ain't down with black supremacy, we definitely ain't down with white supremacy. This is knowing your role. And when you know your role, you know what you have to do. The Dalai Lama has a role. His role is to go around talking to people, make them tap into the conscious level. Bruce Lee had a role. Each one of us here has a role. The Prophet Muhammad had a role. Jesus had a role. Musa had a role. Everybody has a role to play. And the highest meditation is about learning your role.
Is that the purpose
of meditation? To learn your role. Where do I fit in this energy called life? Boom.
Why am I here?
Exactly.
To add on, as Queen Nasir was talking about fear, and what was this a fear tactic about the cell phones? We won't be allowed to see the power of the sun coming to this way. We have to fear the sun. We're worried about a cell phone.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? So it's like, clearly that's something that has to be controlled or mastered. This ability for those outside of us to inject fear.
Exactly.
Because it's such an easy way to manipulate people.
Fear?
I think that fear thing is huge.
Real. Fear leads to anger.
Yeah.
It says right here, anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering. There's an attack going on the Muslims worldwide. Why? Because people scared of Muslims. So they fear them. And in turn, they begin to hate them. Because they're the center of stress for other people, according to the government. So they hate them. So that turns into suffering now. For not just the victim who is the Muslim that gets beat up or violated or etc. But also the person that does the violating is suffering too. Suffering with a deeper scar than the person they violated. This is what Martin was trying to show. That oppression doesn't just hurt the oppressed, it hurts the oppressor. Because you're not designed to oppress other people. You're designed to cohabitate with other people. Now, it says one of the most important factors is stress. We just said it, see? Your guys are on point. Stress. Stress is another code word for what? Fear. Yeah. What does fear produce in the body? Stress. Stress produces what? Violence. Yeah. It says violence is not possible in the absence of stress. A relaxed person cannot commit violence. The muscles get tense, the mind becomes tense, and the feelings turn tense too. Violence is the natural outcome. Okay, now, come up here, bro. Stand right here. No, stand right here. That's good. Take your hand, put it out straight, and tense it up. Like, tense. I can't bend this, right? No matter what. Now relax. Keep your fingers straight. Just relax your thumb.
No stress.
Why? Because this muscle here controls the locking mechanism to the wrist. Make a fist, but go past the first finger. Like Reach your way down to that finger. Okay, now tighten your fist up. See, I can move it. You can't fight it, no matter how you try.
What's that you cracking?
There's nothing.
Stuff.
But see, in the result of stress, again, we talked about adverse reactions. That's it. Other parts get hurt trying to control something. But this muscle is not, it's tense now. Tense now. Right? You can't stop it. Now watch this. Relax the muscle. Put your thumb on your first finger right here. Make the same fist. Just keep that relaxed. Relax. Tighten up. Keep your thumb right there. Right? Tight. I can't bend it.
Why?
Because when this muscle relaxes, it causes all the other muscles to line up, creating a defense. It defends the body from invasion. But when he's tense, these muscles are not working together. So this wrist doesn't lock like it's supposed to. Stress does that to the body. When you're stressed, everything's tense. But you think tense is protection? No, because there's eruptions going on in the body. And the result is an outward burst. But when you relax, the body works in cohesion with each other.
The lady was saying that when you have upper back pain or lower back pain, that's stress from emotional and financial lack of support. And when you suffer with stomach pain or gallbladder pain, that's anger. She just broke down the medical, results of anger and stress. It
These
was
two chakras.
wow.
I saw a documentary where they said once you start, the stress mode happens, the adrenaline starts pumping, and it becomes lethal to the organ inside the body.
Yeah.
It's not good to have yourself
People
so hyped
die
up.
more from stress than anything. And it's usually stress is
Stress is based on fear. Good morning. Welcome to the MTA. Please, take all valuables, put them in your pocket. Please, don't have your chains hanging out. Watch the people behind you. Keep all persons close to you. Keep all personal things in reach. If you see anything, say something. If you see any bags, please call the neighboring police. And you start looking around, ain't no police in the car. What I'm gonna do? And then don't ride between cars. It's dangerous. Don't stand over there. Please don't give the panhandlers. No compassion. Now, have a nice day. My whole day is destroyed in one announcement. You just told me to do everything opposite of everything we saw here. I gotta keep everything. There's no trust. So I'm tense, everybody, right? Don't give the panhandle. Hello, if I would give to somebody, maybe they wouldn't take something. If you see something, say something. You've been trained on who to say something about. You ain't gonna just say something. You're gonna say something plus something.
Yeah.
We've been trained who to hate, who to have fear. Fear is kin to stress. Now, attachment leads to jealousy, the shadow of greed. Attachment leads to jealousy, the shadow of greed. Emptiness is the beginning of a quest. Any spiritual quest starts with emptiness. Knowing that you don't control nothing. Knowing that everything really is just going to flow. You got to just figure out how to flow with it. But if you go in there, you're like, no, this is my chair. Nobody better sit in that chair. This is my chair. Right? Then he go get, well, I get my own chair, fine. And he go get this brown chair over here. He come in, wait a minute. This chair is soft. My chair ain't so soft. This chair got shiny poles on it. I want his chair. I'm going to take his chair. He going to give me his chair. But I already got a chair. Why do I need his chair? Because I'm envious of his chair. Why am I envious of his chair? Because I'm so attached to my chair. See how that just happened that fast? But if I wasn't attached in the first place, it's just a chair. He would have a chair and I'd have a chair. You can have another chair. You just sit down. It's all good. You got a brown chair with cushion? Fine. Give me a jack. I got another chair over there. You would look up somewhere else, but because I'm so envious of him, I didn't even look over to see that another chair that's actually better than his chair. I didn't even see that because it's my chair. You better than my chair. How dare you be better than my chair? Same thing happens in society. We get so attached to people, things, places. My neighborhood, my so-and-so, my this, my that, even my culture. You can be too attached to your culture. You can be could become so attached to your culture that subconsciously you start to suppress other cultures.
that's a form of abuse.
And oppression. We so black. We're gonna kill everything that ain't black. But that's why we had to even learn that we was black. Because somebody else said, I'm so white, I'm going to kill everything that ain't white. Wait a minute. Oppression does not succumb and succeed oppression. It's oppression versus liberation. It's not oppression versus more oppression, which leads to more oppression. Because trust me, if we have oppression to beat oppression, then the new oppression will get beat by another oppression. It'll just keep going on and on and on. But if oppression overcomes liberation, is overcome by liberation, then liberation is a new understanding of things that will eliminate, like we said earlier, the reasons for the stress in the first place, or the oppression in the first place. Now, the muscles get tense, the mind becomes tense, the feelings turn tense too. Violence is a natural outcome. Basically, of course, most tension is born of an agitated mind. Most of us are agitated. We get up in the morning agitated, you went to bed agitated, you start your day agitated, you watch agitated TV, you read agitated papers, you just everything agitated. And God knows you ride a train, you agitated. So you get a car because you don't want to ride an agitated train, but then you become more agitated in the car. So then you like, well, that's it. I'm not going to drive because that's too agitated. I was agitated in the train, so now I'm not going to drive because I don't want to be agitated. I'm going to get a bike. But then the bike requires you to buy all these pads, which costs more money, and that's why I'm agitated. No bike lanes here. I'm ducking cars all day. Nobody respects me on my bike, and I'm agitated. You know, I'm walking, but now I'm walking, and there's too many damn people on the sidewalk, spitting everywhere. I'm just agitated. Everything's agitation. You know. So how do we defeat? Hey, how do we defeat that agitation? Just busting like, hey. How do we defeat the agitation? Right. We defeat the agitation by looking for balance. Balance. How do we find balance in everything? Okay, here's some small rules. There is no emotion. There's only peace. There is no emotion. There is only peace. There's no ignorance. There's only knowledge. There is no passion, there is only serenity. Let's stop there. Now, when we say passion, we don't talk about love your passion, not that. Passion meaning the drive. Sometimes too much drive can be a problem. You know, you gotta have serenity. In other words, know what you can change, know what you can't change, and know the difference between the two. Sometimes passion will drive you to, what's that movie by Stephen King? Pet Sematary. Where the passion, they lost their little child, he got hit by a car. Bang, out of there. So they heard about this cemetery that the Native Americans had where they could take the dead there and bring them back to life. So they said, okay, we're going to take our son. They had the body, you just passion. They just, you know, no, serenity. It is what it is. You know, passion. I'm going to make it go my way. So they took the little boy there and they brought him back to life. But he came back, you know, the first day he was okay. Then he started, like, he was possessed. Little kid started killing everything, going crazy. Then they tried to kill him, and he killed one of them. I mean, it was crazy. You know, and then the little boy kills the mother. The father's crushed now because he had to kill the little boy. But then he takes the mother there and brings her back to life. And the same thing goes over. Wow. You know, and that's the concept of that. Now, along with that, there is no death, no end. There's only energy. Now, you'll hear people say, well, they don't believe in reincarnation. I don't know, but I know that there's no end. Me personally, I don't believe in reincarnation, but I do believe that there's no end. You know, and all religions talk about it.
Well, is that not, when you talk about the afterlife, meaning that what?
Well, the afterlife means that I exist in another form.
In another form, so there's no end.
Right, but not reincarnation.
Right.
Like I don't believe, I'm not going to leave and come back as something else.
No,
I believe that I just keep, you know, I exist.
Right.
See, in our mentality, the paradise that we talk, it ain't no cloud with a chariot. You know, it's just another place of existence. And you know, we are in 3 stages of existence. Before we were in this stage, we were liquid. You know, long before that, you were electromagnetic. Right. You were matter. Right. Before matter. You see? Because the first time it was just this man and this woman. You existed before they even knew each other. They were conduits for your existence. Because the little boy is like, I'm gonna have a child one day. And the girl's like, I'm gonna have a child one day. See, already they starting that route of connection. They're working that path. I want this kind of child. I want that kind of child. I want this kind of woman. I want this kind of man. And then they get together. Ooh, I like you. I like you too. Let's have a family. Okay. Then they get together and connect, and their aspirations for the child become one. and then that electromagnetic energy transfers itself through the sacral, which is the genital, into the first state of physical being, which is now the liquid. You know, and that liquid eventually becomes a solid, and that solid is you. That's just a scientific creation.
The movie Powder.
Powder. Yeah.
He made that very clear. Said she didn't die. Like she didn't. She said he didn't. She just went. Like she's you know.
She's there.
She didn't go anyplace. She's here. Like you know, still there. She just transformed into energy. Like you know, the sheriff's wife.
Right.
Whatever.
She had passed away, and then everybody was all sad. He was like, "What you sad for?"
Right.
She's still here. She's right there.
Right.
He's like, "You can't see her? I can."
Even look what happened to him.
Yeah. Then he just became energy.
Yeah, he became energy.
You know, it says there. Okay. Now, that which is born of sense of arrogance and that which is born of sense of defeat. That's the two types of stress. There's that one of arrogance and one of defeat. To former belong cases of stress arising out of anger and greed. To the latter, those caused by despair, defeat, and indolence. Excuse me. Now, arrogance. What's arrogance? Anybody tell what arrogance is?
Act like you know everything, you don't need anybody.
Know it all.
An air about
Know
you.
the gods.
Right. What do you think arrogance is?
I was thinking more along the lines of privilege. So you feel like you deserve something, or you feel like something should happen. A sense of almost self-righteousness.
Okay. Anybody else on the answer? There's really no wrong answer. There's just classical answers and not so classical.
Like no regard. Like I got to agree with the Queen. Like no regard to the care. Like not uncaring.
Okay. Now let me just be the opposite. Sister Seba said that arrogance was like you just know everything. Could that be confidence? Could that be a form of independence?
Yeah, we can't know everything.
Not necessarily.
But maybe it could be just
I've
in my
never
world.
met anyone, even the most well-schooled and well-read person, they know everything.
Could you be arrogant? In
I
thinking
think
that
so.
I don't know everything. I'm just using myself. I'm saying not me.
Maybe.
Could
Yeah.
you be arrogant and just assuming that I don't know everything?
Yeah, because I know you don't know everything.
But how do you know that? If you don't know everything,
Nobody knows everything.
Nobody knows everything.
But how do we know that?
It's not possible. I don't think it is.
Oh, think. Can't pass judgment on think.
You might know enough or
A
know
lot.
so much in one subject,
But who says?
but just to like know.
Because there's so much to know. This is a huge, continuous world. It's just so much to know. So much has transpired over a long period of time.
But how you know I don't know that?
You
Experience.
haven't been around long enough.
How you know I don't know somebody that
I've
knows
learned
that?
so much. I've read so much. I mean, with different courses and stuff.
But how do you know? School.
And still, I'm still learning.
But that's
I
only a
still
little-
feel like a baby.
But what if I tell you, your school is cool, but that's just like you go there how many times a year and how many hours a day? What if I study more than you? What if I didn't
No,
go to
I'm
school?
not. I'm not saying that one person might know more than the other.
But what if I know everything?
You might know more than me.
But what if I know
You might be
everything?
correct, but I don't think you know.
You went from I don't know everything to I don't think you know everything, so you're not too sure about your arrogance. How about, but how about it? Listen,
Could arrogance be like you don't see your reflection in others? How about that?
that's now, did you say arrogance was from?
Almost like a sense of privilege or self-righteousness or entitlement.
What if I am entitled to this? Who are you to tell me I'm not? What if I am? I did everything they said do. I'm supposed to get this. I'm a good guy. I do everything. Maybe I am entitled to it. Don't get mad at me because you don't think you're entitled to it. I think I'm entitled to it.
That's the same approach I had to think about that shit.
I think I'm entitled to it. I did everything I'm supposed to do. I'm on point. Just because you don't think you're worth it, why you gonna drag me into it? I think I'm the champ. I'm the champ. I'm the greatest thing ever happened since the shoe day. That's how I think about it. Why you gonna drag me down because you don't think like that? Anybody everybody else.
You arrogant.
Yeah, you're arrogant. And then you telling us that we're arrogant.
I'm not saying you're arrogant. I'm just saying, like, how you know I'm arrogant? Just because I fit your description? Who gave you your description of arrogant?
You act like your own.
Well, who told you that those are the descriptions? Who told you?
You God. You want to be God now.
Well, who told you that all these descriptions? Where'd you get this stuff from? Where's your foundation?
Definitions.
For who?
Behavior.
For where? What definition?
Behavior.
But what definition? All those things are symptoms.
Definitions of those words describe
But
you,
who?
possibly. I'm saying when I say you, because we play.
Yeah, but who told you that arrogance is all those things?
You learned it.
From
You learned
who?
from the same people you learned
How
from.
you know you learn from the same? There you go assuming it.
You
Dragging
read
me
the
into
books
your.
you read.
How you know I ain't read some more books on top of that? I mean,
Nice
different.
how you know? Yeah, I gotta get the arrogant stance.
That's it.
How you think? How do you know? How do you know? You're just assuming. She's
One of
just
those
assuming again.
people.
What am I doing? Why are you assuming? Now I'm only saying that to say that that the energy we put out, and when we make definite definitions, a lot of times we have to check even that energy that we put out, because we could be the very thing we say someone else is. Because
Most of the times we are.
yeah, but in our definition approach of things, with each definition comes a submission to someone else's thought into your reality. You're saying, well, that's a chair because I was taught that's a chair from over there, and this is a chair, and all the factors thus far prove this is a chair. So we can go off of that. But what if somebody come along one day and shake all that up, and then we'll be like, man, that ain't a chair no more. Now all the people we done killed because that was a chair, damn, we gotta go back to this sorry. All the people we didn't allow to do such and such because we thought that was really a chair. Because of the level of knowledge that we had, that's a chair. See? And understanding true spirituality, understanding continuation, means that we never really give a definite to anything. We deal with it in the moment. In the moment, we strive for peace. We're not going to say you're definitely this or you're definitely that. Because in the moment, you're this. But you could change. The whole reality of the moment could change. Like that. So since energy is ever changing, never constant, never stagnant, never structural, always flowing, then we have to be always flowing. And prepared to flow and take shape at any given moment. Like my man Bruce said, be like water. Water takes the shape of all containers. So we can't get stuck too hard in dogma. We can't get stuck too hard in ritual. That we're not open for cosmic change. 2012, we talked about last week. 2012 represents a shift in consciousness, an evolutionary shift and change from the single-celled amoeba, protozoa, to the compounded biological cell organism called human, to a new something. Earlier I talked about gray matter. They're called gray matter aliens. You say alien. Oh, here we go. Going out of space with it. No, not that kind of alien. Alien means other than you. Inside electricity and static, it has been proven that there is life. Inside electromagnetic forces, inside those energy waves is another form of life that existed. It's been proven. You know, they use sound. Sound resonates. So they took a plate, steel plate, I showed you overnight, and they turned different sound under it and poured salt. And when they turned the different frequencies, the salt took shapes, like drawings. But all the drawings were the chakras. And each time they turned the frequency according to the chakra, the shape that the salt took was exactly the shape that the chakra should be. Now you said, well, that's just, because you said nothing. But why could it not be that electromagnetic life exists? Why does everything life have to look like us? Why does everything, we say Allah, God, Jehovah, the Creator's power is infinite. So who are we to say that they got to look like us to live? And if it don't look like us, it ain't real. Or if it don't look like the big-eyed guy is green.
Oh, you mean when you talk about aliens?
Yeah, just life in general.
Oh.
Like
There's
I brought up
trees that are life.
right, but I brought up even in that life, but that's a life that we determine. We determine trees are life. You cool, it's plant, you down. But if I was to tell you that, well, the microorganisms that exist in the fabrics that make up that flag, they're alive. You only concern yourself with them when they bite you at night on the bed. You call them bites, mites. Mites are microorganisms that exist on every fabric or thread that makes up your bed sheet. We were never concerned about them until they started disturbing us and biting us. We don't even think about how many millions of them you kill when you wash your sheet.
Bed bugs?
No.
Mite?
Mite is so small you can't even see it with your eyes.
You can see it on paper.
That's when certain mites, there's mites. We just, another thing about us, you know, humans, we generalize everything. So it's bed bugs and then mites. They all have different names, I'm quite sure. Scientifically, they all have a different name. But the ones that we can't see, they are alive.
You feel them.
Yeah, you feel them. But they're alive. The point is, there's life beyond our comprehension.
We're on this right now, actually. I was going to say, it's funny, I was talking to two people at my job weeks ago, and I said to them, water is alive. Wow, why did I say that?
It went crazy.
They was big. I mean, I was even smart guy. They was like, how can it be alive? It's not reproducing. I said, it's not reproducing based on your reproduction. Well, why isn't it reproducing?
Waves.
Yeah.
Why? The water does reproduce.
Exactly.
Look at you.
Yeah.
You are the reproduction of water.
Exactly.
You started out in water.
I asked them that. How can
Liquid.
how can it be a sustainer of life but not have life be alive?
See?
That's right.
Ask them that.
That's right.
See, the reason I brought up arrogance because you see how like we talking now? Depending on what circle we're in, you're going to get a whole different response. See, because in this class, it's not a religious class. It's a purely metaphysical class. So any thought process, we're going to take and analyze it. We're open here. When you go on to somewhere that ain't too open, you might get stoned. Straight up.
You're right.
You know, they might you talking against God. Pow! Never know. Or you might go in another circle and talk like this, and the guys in the white jackets will be outside waiting. He lost his mind. He's talking about life and water. Yeah, you should come get him. He said there's people alive in my sheets.
Yeah,
This guy's going crazy. He's really loose. What is he smoking? You know he got that long hair, right? You know what I mean? That's what I'm just saying. Because if we don't take the cap off our thinking, we're not going to go anywhere. Now, okay, back to this. Now, it says, summarily, depression and defeat can also result in violence, as in the case with most suicides. Suicide is the most violent act on the planet. I'm not talking religiously. I'm talking symbiotically. Suicide is worse than homicide because in most cases, homicide is quick, but it's individualistic, and it has a cause, and it can be explained, it can be wrapped up, and that's it. Everything keeps flowing. I get killed in the street. Either I did something to this guy, and that's why he killed me, or he killed me for no reason, which means all blame goes on him. End of story. I commit suicide. I rip myself from the fabric of life. No one knows why, really. We'll just be assuming until kingdom come. And each of you will be affected because I have ripped myself out of your kundalini or out of your chakra system, and you can't figure out why. So suicide is the most violent act, the most disruptive act to the universe. Suicide. If trees just start dying, we die right behind them. When you die, someone can either live or die depending on their comprehension of what just happened. If a person passes away and we totally understand that process, we can live and become stronger. But if a person passes away and we don't understand that process, or we fail to understand that process, we could die from depression. How many people know somebody that died and they die right behind that person? Couples do that. Elders do that. You know, even friends. You have friends that lose each other and the other one just died. Siblings that are real close. One sibling died, the other one dies. See? Against the backdrop of tension or stress, it becomes meaningful to talk about meditation and nonviolence. As noted above, the most potent antidote to stress of all kinds is meditation. In fact, the main aim of meditation is to free man from stress, or both part of meditation. The former quickly relieves muscle tension, as Durga, Sabza, Persha, precipitation of breath involving slow and complete exhalation and deep inhalation. Totally removes all mental tension. There are related techniques like, this is Indriya Sanyam, Murda, or meditation posture of controlling the senses. Stop right there. There was a report in the Times, I think last summer, that Muslims who perform the salat regularly have less stress. And not because you're doing something spiritual, it's because the positions of the body open up chakras. If you look at ancient meditation back in Kemet, you will see the same positions that are in the salat. Even the Christians, with the hands closed together, the joining of the chakras, the bending of the knees, creates a position. This meditation. See, if you see the Buddhists, they greet each other like this. They close the chakras and they touch the third eye. You pray, you cover your center chakra. Whether it's like this or like this. When you open the hands, you open your energy to the energy. This goes all the way back to Kemet. You see it in Islam, Christianity, and also people group. What just happened? 2 chakras were presented to you. Anybody know the 2? Somebody said? Third eye. You both got that one. Yeah.
It looks like the crown is the
crown.
Yeah,
Yeah. So they both said third eye, then they said crown.
yeah.
They were presented to you, so I can receive. Like I was saying earlier in the class, it's not
And actually, yeah.
it's not our culture to take off our head covers. It's not a religious thing; it's a cultural thing. And that culture goes back to mankind's culture, but mankind's culture is separated so much. We kept this covered. Why? Because this is the center of all the chakras. This is the entry point. So you keep it covered because, like I said earlier, if you're outside, you got your radio, and you in an area like 34th Street, there's so many different antennas going on all over the place, you'll get all kinds of things over your radio. So you tend to put your antenna down until you get past that madness, and you put your antenna back up so you can hear your TV show or your frequency or your radio show. Well, the same thing happens to you when you're moving through the streets. If you don't got your, crown covered, you absorb all that stuff. That's why, like real hardcore rockstars, they don't let their locks out. They feel like their locks are a connection to the cosmos, so they keep their hair wrapped. Just like the Sikhs keep their hair wrapped, because the hair is a connection to everything around me. It's like little tentacles. So they're not covered and centered. I'm just picking up everything. And that's a whole spiritual thing that we have to really take seriously. So, a lot of times we go into the mosque, we go into these different places, and we cover our head, and we don't even know why. We just think it's part of the $9.99 wardrobe. Everybody got the $9.99 wardrobe. If you're a Buddhist, you gotta have the Buddhist beads, the robe, some sandals, some incense. If you're Muslim, you gotta have the zikr beads, the kufi, and the jalbiya. Everybody got that $9.99 starter kit. And they don't understand what this purpose is serving. Why are my guards flowing? We'll get into that next week. There's a whole science behind that too. Now, there also is a sheet here, meditation for beginners.
I don't have the other one.
Training copies.
No, I have meditation for beginners.
No, you don't have all. I read off them.
Oh, okay.
They won't have enough paper to copy. The meditation for beginners.
I wrote no paper.
Okay, we do that for time. Meditation for beginners. I want everybody to just take it home, kind of study it, go over it. Now we talk about earthquake meditation. In here, the second page of earthquake meditation. I think not to give it to you guys. They get that copy. It tells you how to do it. Now, a lot of it is a lot like, you'll see the similarities to prayer positions. You'll see the similarities in meditation position to martial arts. Those that are martial artists, when you make a horse stance, different stances, it goes down to even like sun meditation. My advice to you, one thing you should do in meditate is take your tongue and connect it to the top of your mouth. To keep that constant circle. Don't let anything out. Now, let's talk about, finally, the throat chakra. Because the throat chakra locks into everything that we'll be talking about. And it also represents the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that we were talking about, that 1, 2, 3 cycle. You know, we said 2012 according to mathematics. 2 is wisdom. You know, wise words spoken based on your knowledge or your information. The 0 represents the cipher, having a complete understanding of things. The 1 is a knowledge, and 2 is wisdom again. Okay, so we're saying that we have a basic wisdom or a basic sense of what's going on based on the information we have now. But we don't have a clear understanding of everything. That's what's coming. This shift is starting to give us a big scope to look at now. We're starting to break out of these little molds and ways of thinking that we've been operating in so long. People are striving for something different.
So wisdom is the action of knowledge.
Right. And then, now that people are striving, they're coming into a new consciousness, a new knowledge. And you're going to have a new wisdom. 2012, 2012. And if you add it all up, it's 5. And 5, according to mathematics, brings about a power, an ability to define for yourself what is good for yourself and good for those around you. But you can't have that power without a refinement. And the refining is what we're talking about when we talk about meditation. That's refining your energy. It's good to learn the chakras, but if you don't understand it, you can be out of control. You got to learn how to refine it and direct it. That's when we talked about that study with crime dropping. That was just an experiment on how this power could be used. Now think about this. Your enemy is using ancient sciences to help him. And we scared to even talk about it in our little religious groups. We scared to go that far. We scared to even think outside of that, out the box, to think about that. And healing not only ourselves, but our community. I remember about a year or so ago, those out around me, and I was throwing them because it kept popping in my head like, oh man, we having all these rallies, and I've been to more rallies than you can count. And I found them saying, these rallies is not doing it. You know, we get a little something here, a little something there, because we're not balancing out the rally. After we put what's wrong out there, we never go back to put out what's right. We just talk about what's wrong. And we don't really talk about what's wrong in the sense of taking charge of it. We just go to the man that did it and tell him, we know what you did. And he goes, so. And that's it. Basically. We feel good. He's like, so. But what if we would say, look, we know what you did, and we come in here today to do something about it. And then we lock into prayer. Just lock in, focusing on this. And for the next X amount of months, whatever, we're going to collectively focus on this. Bang, all the mosques. We have this situation with Muslims right now. All the mosques is what we saying the same energy, service, a sermon. In Islam, it's called khutbah. In church, it's a sermon. But it's basically words. And words to bring about a certain thought to the congregation, to have a certain action happen from the congregation. So we're going to all have the same words to put about the same thought, to get the same action, and we're going to direct it at Assis until he breaks. See, that would be real. That would change something. If we say St. Nicholas Project off the hook, they kill X amount of bodies a week, man, we got to stop this. We can't go through the no justice, no peace without the gun. That ain't happening. Or, you know, don't kill yourself. That's good, but it ain't happening. We go there, and we don't say nothing to nobody. We just go right in the center. You got to go to the heart of things. You can't be on the outside of projects, on that curve. That ain't going to work if you're not in the heart. Remember, everything has chakras. Every living organism, every compound living organism has chakras. So a housing project is a community. And that community has a heart. So you say, well, look, you go to somebody and say, yo, man, where is like the one area in these projects that is like the worst, you know, they got that worst corner or that worst place, and it's, man, it's right there. Okay, that's where we go. And we go right there. Yeah, excuse me, brothers. I know they're hustling. Excuse me, y'all. We ain't even come to stop you. You can do what you got to do. But we're going to take this corner right here, and we're going to meditate. We'll be back next week with more numbers, and more numbers, and more numbers. Guarantee, without saying the word, things will change in that project. Guarantee. How am I so guaranteed? Because we do it every second Friday of the month on 125th and Lexington with the food drive. That area is the heartbeat of corruption on 125th Street. 125th and Lexington, between 25th and 24th. The heartbeat of corruption. We ain't going over there with bullhorns talking about, yo, y'all got to stop killing each other, y'all got to stop doing it. We went over there and we addressed the needs of the people. By addressing the needs of the people, we're sending out an energy that we understand you, we're with you, and we come here to help you. And they receive that energy, and this is how we got this connection. Then it's got to the point now, we said we ain't gonna go over there with no religious agenda, none of that, we just gonna go over there and help our people. Now it's to the point where the people we helping, the couple times they can't get me. Brother, you gonna bless the food? I ain't start that. The people reached out for that. They looked around for an identified source of...
Even remember when we used to go to those those gang violence
Yeah.
meetings, and I mean, no matter what meeting I would drag them to, they would say, "What's up? You want to lead in prayer?"
Yeah, you want to lead in the prayer? See, if you put that energy out there, it's gonna happen. So now if we doing it by mistake, let's start learning how to do it on purpose.
And remember when Samaj, yourself, and I walked the streets, and it was like,
Yeah, and we wasn't saying a word to nobody. We wasn't giving out no flyers. We just all dressed in garbs. You know, we made our salat, wudu, got our minds right, and we just engaged in positive conversation and just walk and talk to each other, dressed in white. And as we moving down the block, people just be like, "Hey, brother, oh, shit, sorry, brother. Oh, good, you know, people good, glad to see you," or whatever the case may be. People be arguing, and as we walk up, we ain't said a word to them. They just stop arguing and smile. Straight up, we ain't said nothing to them. They see us go, you know.
Even the sister was like, "Excuse me, y'all."
So your energy.
Yeah.
Vibration.
She made it inquire. Like,
See, it happened by accident first, and we just walked. We looked for a bookstore the first time, remember? And as we walked looking for the bookstore, we realized the results. So we came back to the lab. We was like, "Okay, we're gonna do it purpose next time." So this time we was deliberately taking cuts and going through different places. But even before I started walking with y'all, when I was with the new Black Panther Party, I realized the same thing. Like, yeah, we walked through and people give us a certain kind of respect. So we just started going through the neighborhood with a bullhorn and making it, love yourself. Don't kill yourself. Africans don't kill Africans. Love being black. Respect yourself. Just simple little slogan. But as we started doing it, people started looking forward to it. So when we come, they would be like, "Oh yeah, what's up, you know, blah, 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 blah." So that shows that if we put that energy out there, we can get this back. And now, because you know, I love my people, but y'all don't believe nothing to the white man said. So he said it. He said it right here in the Democrat. I gotta keep it real, you know how we are. His ice is better than mine. So it's in Democrat. It's colder. It's true though. I mean, you would say you're okay, all right. You don't believe unless the government say. Okay. Whoever, it's the same. So it's right here. So you take this, like, print it for everybody to have, and if somebody try to argue about the power of meditation and the power of the chakras and line, you show them this. This is a report. And it's on the internet too, by the way. I saw it on YouTube, and I sent out this big clip called 2010, The Awakening. If you're on YouTube, go to YouTube 2012, The Awakening, and you'll see this report. But then I just went in and typed in, you know, dropping violence plus meditation. Boom, they go to report. So I printed it up so you can see it for yourself. Seeing is believing. You know. Again, this is another book. All this is in one documentary. All these things I'm showing you, they like about the heart consciousness and how the heart resonates more electromagnetic fields than the brain, and how they don't have their own. If you look this up on the internet, it'll have the thing, you know, to show you the video as you read it. Now it says, compared to the electromagnetic field produced by the brain, the electrical component of the heart's field is about 60 times greater in amplitude and permeates every cell in the body. The magnetic component is approximately 5,000 times stronger than the brain's magnetic field and can be detected several feet away from the body with sensitive magnetometers. The heart generates a continuous series of electromagnetic pulse in which the time interval between each beat varies in a dynamic or complex manner. The heart's ever-present rhythmic field has a power influence on the process throughout the body. We have demonstrated, for example, the brain rhythms naturally synchronize to the heart's rhythmic activity, and also that during sustained feelings of love or appreciation, the blood pressure and respiratory rhythms among our oscillatory systems entertain to the heart's rhythm. So when you feeling good, your whole body feeling good. When you ain't feeling good, your whole body feeling good. You ever get heartbreak, you be like, "Oh, my stomach hurt. I feel it in my gut." You really do. Because your brain, your heart, the heart brain, you know, has such a radiance, it pushes out through the whole body. You know, we learned about this in Islamic study, the Kaaba, you know, the Akhl, the Ruh, you know, and how the Kaaba is so important, and how inside the Kaaba there's another heart inside the heart. Well, That's the heart brain he's talking about. Same thing. Inside your heart is another heart. So inside the heart that goes through the blood is another heart, which is the soul, which is the key to everything. That pushes out through the whole body. And it says several feet away. You know? Not a couple, several is 3 or more. So that means, like, if I got a negative heart, people around me will be like, what's wrong with that dude? Like, I'm good. Like the brother we saw the other day. You just looking at it like, what's wrong with that guy? You know? Because your heart is, that's what old folks say, y'all got a bad heart. Your heart's just bad. Your heart is black heart, negative heart. Because it's real. If your heart is not on point, I don't care what you say. If your heart is not there, you're not there. You know? You can think you're there. You can even think you're trying to get there. But if your heart is not budged, you're not going nowhere. It's that simple. So you have to free, not the brain. We have to change that. We can't teach children no more to free the mind, and your behind will follow. It's more like free the heart, and everything else will follow. That's what we're going to have to start saying in 212.
Not the heart in the heart.
Yeah. Free the heart in the heart, and everything else will follow. Any questions?
Where's the center mass? Center mass?
Yeah, this is your abdominal.
Center mass.
Center mass is solar flex right here. That's
what I was thinking when you did like this. This one was extended. That's why I said the solar.
yeah,
But it's
About-
really advantage the
Yeah.
hand.
the solar flex is right here. Center mass.
What's the last thing you said about the heart?
That the heart has a heart inside of it. The heart has a mind of its own.
Brain.
You
The heart
said
has a
something
brain.
else that we need to work on?
The brain of
Your
the
heart.
heart.
You have to work on the heart, the inner heart.
I think free your heart and the rest will
Yeah,
follow.
for your heart, and the rest will follow. No more for your
Thank
mind.
you.
And you know, you guys are welcome to bring recording devices to class, or you could just wait and buy the
we could do
DVD
that?
for $5. Quick
It's
segue.
always a
Oh,
fun.
we could bring our...
Or you could do that, or you could wait and get the whole DVD and hear everything and see everything in living color, HD. Everything's a fundraiser, man. We ain't government sponsored. We gotta make it happen. Any other questions? Any statements?
So please feel free to
Oh.
donate.
Yeah, definitely. Please feel free to donate. We have little some trees back there. Or if you don't want to get a treat for your money, you could just put the money in the basket. We'll free it. You know, we don't want all your money. We just want the important money.
I have a bank.
You have money? You said?
No. Did everybody sign a letter?
No. Actually, I have.